What's going on, guys? This is Rob and welcome back to Geek Culture Explained. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the idea of King Thanos in Avengers Kang Dynasty or Avengers Secret Wars. Now, as always, if you guys enjoy this video, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and make sure you guys drop a like. But for those of you who do not know who King Thanos is, this guy is amazing. So King Thanos was in a story called Thanos Wins, which was written by comic book writer Donny Cates. The idea behind this is that as Earth's superheroes basically got older, Thanos got stronger because Thanos is an eternal with a deviant gene and he just got stronger as time went on for any number of reasons. But ultimately, Thanos launched an attack against Earth and basically killed everybody. And then following that, he essentially killed everything in the universe, all the cosmic entities, Galactus, the Celestials, the whole 9 yards, until all that was left was King Thanos and Cosmic Ghost Rider. You know what? As a bonus, let's talk about Cosmic Ghost Rider. I doubt we'll see him in the MCU, but it would be cool to see. So Cosmic Ghost Rider is actually Frank Castle, the Punisher. And when Thanos was killing everybody on Earth, Frank Castle basically made a statement with his dying breath, which was he would give anything to be able to kill Thanos. Enter Mephisto, who basically made a deal with the Punisher that he would give him the means to kill Thanos. But as always, when it comes to Mephisto, there's a catch. So he turned Frank Castle into the Ghost Rider, but he couldn't leave Earth. And that ultimately Galactus showed up to consume the world at some point, and because Galactus was one of the last beings left alive before Thanos killed him, that Galactus turned Ghost Rider into his herald and gave him the power cosmic. Hence the reason why you have Cosmic Ghost Rider. It's a really cool story. Because of the way he appeared, everybody thought he was Deadpool initially. But the thing about this is it's entirely possible for us to see King Thanos in the MCU, but not exactly as his comic book version from the Thanos Wins storyline. Instead, we could actually be seeing a comic book faithful adaptation of Thanos in the MCU. Basically based on the Infinity Gauntlet story combined with just Thanos being Thanos. So let's say in this hypothetical situation with Thanos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, King Thanos, that is, let's say that we look at the events of Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Now, as we saw that movie, the battle with Thanos was pretty small in scope, all things considered, right? You basically had the Earthbound superheroes facing off against Thanos, and the Eternals chose not to step in for reasons that nobody but Marvel Studios understands, because it's literally a massive calamity that would really just negate the rules of the Celestials and just kind of require the Eternals to step in anyway. But for whatever reason, they chose not to. Now, the thing about this is, in this alternate reality, let's expand the scope of this conflict. Let's say that Thanos blinking out half the life in the universe is pretty massive, right? Say that it happened in Infinity War and nobody really saw it coming outside of the superheroes who were there. So that's why, like, the Celestials never stepped in. Or Galactus, if he exists in this alternate reality, never stepped in. But by the time you get to Avengers Endgame, it's basically the superheroes on Earth trying to prevent Thanos from doing what he did before. So because that's the case, the Celestials would know what Thanos' goal is. And a Galactus, if he exists in this universe, wouldn't know what his goal is, assuming that they weren't blinked out of existence. The snap was done at random, so, you know, half the Celestials are gone. But let's say that in this alternate reality, because of everything going on, when it comes to the battle in Avengers Endgame, the Celestials step in. And say maybe Galactus steps in, and potentially a few other people, the Silver Surfer or what have you. This leads to a massive universe-wide battle, which is actually Thanos facing off against not just the Earth superheroes, but some of the most powerful beings in existence. And so let's say that in this story, Thanos gets his hands on the Infinity Gauntlet, and Thanos snaps again and blinks out all or at least half the life in the universe that was just brought back. But let's say maybe he chooses to go a step further. Maybe he becomes drunk with his own power. I would go as far as to argue that the Thanos that we saw show up in Avengers Endgame seemed a little bit darker than the Thanos that we got in Infinity War. And so if that's being the case, let's say that he just gets drunk with his own power. Whatever reason that we choose to use, Thanos takes it a step further and says, you know what? Humanity and all these different races are all just going to procreate, and they're all going to be right back where we were before. So let's just wipe out all life in the universe and call it a day. And Thanos is the only guy there. He's the only resident there. Now, whether or not this would happen in that level of extreme, I'm not entirely sure. You could just say Thanos uses the Infinity Gauntlet to just make himself a demigod, right? Just kind of rule with an absolute fist. But the important thing here is that if they were to give us this version of Thanos, if anything, I think it would be a cameo. Because the reality is Thanos' story's done. There's no reason to go back and retread the Infinity Gauntlet stuff outside of simply just the fact that we as fans would be interested in seeing it. What if the events of Infinity War and Avengers Endgame happen differently, and Thanos won, then like ultimately how does that play out, right? I mean, we kind of saw how that event transpired in Infinity War, but let's take it a step further. But I think that if he were to appear, it would be just some kind of side-along universe or something that we might glimpse, maybe a universe that Loki passes through, or one that Scott Lang happens to witness in Ant-Man 3 Quantumania, assuming he explores the multiverse in any meaningful way. But I don't think he would be like a major player. I don't think there would be like an entire TV show revolving around him. I don't think he'd be a major plot point in any film, but I do think it would be cool to see a scenario where Thanos in this alternate reality is closer in line with this comic book version than the one that we got in Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, and just really over the course of the first 10 years of the MCU. Heck, even if they want to, they can invoke Mistress Death and go back to the first Avengers film when he was basically told to challenge the Avengers is to court death, and the indication is that Thanos is trying to gain the affections of Mistress Death by basically killing everything he can, because he believes that will get him her favor. It'd be cool to see. There's a variety of different ways that you can do this, but here's a question that I have for you guys. How many of you would want to see King Thanos, that version of Thanos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a super powerful version that killed every cosmic entity and every being across the whole universe? Let me know if you guys want to see that. But with that being said, we're going to bring this video to an end. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you all later. Peace.